Hey everyone, so today I am going to explain another paper. This is the third paper which I have written to the Sentient as an contribution, and this is a 90-page report paper. As you can see, I wrote it, which is the entire thing, and this is my technical analysis on something that's honestly keeping a lot of people in the crypto and AI space up at tonight. So that which is called as a memory injection attacks on Web3 AI agents. And before you click away thinking that this sounds too technical, just stick with me. I'll promise I'll break it down in a way that actually makes sense. Now I know reading a 90-page research paper isn't everything idea of one, right? Like it's not everyone's cup of tea. That's exactly why I'm making this video. You can find the full paper on Zenodo, which is link in the description. This video is my contribution to the Sentient project, where I focus on making complex technical assets accessible through papers, explaining videos, and even podcast. So I made a detailed podcast about OML with one of my friends, and you can listen to that. I'll put the link in the description as well. And more podcasts will be coming soon. And I have another idea, so that if if there is no any other co-host, then I'll be using AI like ChatGPT, Gemini, to speak with me, and I'll try to make some complex podcasts related to particular topics. Okay, and the quick disclaimer before we dive in is I have no financial ties with Sentient Foundation or any of the platforms that I mentioned here. This is pure technical analysis. Okay, the fields moves too fast, so by the time you watch these things might have get evolved. Okay, so always check the latest resources. So all right, let's get to it. And here's the thing, we are living in this moment where AI agents are actually managing real money on blockchains. Like we are talking about billions of dollars. The sentient ecosystem alone has platform for some $1 billion in the market cap. Like think about it. These aren't just chatbots, right? They are autonomous systems making financial decisions. They're executing the trades. They're managing those treasuries. And here's where it get interesting is, and it also terrifying. Like depending on how you look at it, right? So traditional security is built around one simple idea, like validate what comes from the outside and trust what's inside. Makes sense, right? So let me give you an example, like about this line. Suppose you lock your door, but once you are inside your house, then you don't need to verify that your identity at every room that you are going to open, right? But what if someone could manipulate your memories? Like, what if they could make you had a conversation with a bank manager telling you to transfer all the money to the new account, but that conversation never actually happened. Like this might things like they can also happen, right? That's essentially what memory injection attacks to do the AI agents, and the success rate is like it's shocking. Like it's almost 72% in some cases. Compare that to traditional prompt injection attacks, where modern AI models have like near zero vulnerability. So let me show you exactly what I found. And as you can when you read the research, like I didn't just look at one framework. Okay, I've tested five major ones: ElizaOS, LangChain, CrewAI, AutoGPT, and Microsoft's Semantic Kernel. Each one represents a different approach to building AI agents. Okay, so as you can see the table here, this is where it gets real. ElizaOS, which is super popular in the Web3 space, scored around 9.3 out of 10 in overall vulnerability, which is not great. Like this kind sucks. Meanwhile, Semantic Kernel came in at 5.8, which is still vulnerable, but it's significantly better than ElizaOS. Like you may ask, like why such a huge difference when it comes to architecture? See, ElizaOS uses what's called shared memory architecture. Imagine one giant notebook where all users write their conversations, like which is sounds good, right? But the problem is, if I can slip something malicious into that notebook, it affects everyone using it. It's like poisoning a shared water source. Okay, so I tested this using something called CrAI bench. Like it's a benchmark with 685 different attack scenarios specifically designed for blockchain operations. Like it is one of the stress test, but for also security, right? So let me throw some numbers at you, but don't worry. Like I explain what they actually mean. Right now, Web3 AI agents manage roughly around $2 billion in assets. Out of all these deployments, about 85% lack proper memory injection defenses. Like do the math with me here. $2 billion in total asset, whereas 85% vulnerable means almost $1.7 billion is at risk. And that attack per year, which is a chance, is almost 10% chance, and also being conservative. And 30% average loss is happened when attacked. So that gives us $51 million in expected annual losses just sitting there waiting to happen. But here's where it gets interesting from the economic perspective is I checked out this game theory model to understand attacker incentives. Okay. So for an attacker, the cost to execute a memory injection, which may cost roughly around $500. That's it. And when it comes to time investment, maybe 2 hours or maybe 10 hours or maybe even a day or even a week. And the success rate against undefined systems, which is almost 85%. And the profit, that could be nowhere minimum $10,000, and they can go up to $5 million for major DeFi protocols. So when you look at this, the return on investment for attackers is insane. Like we are talking 90% to 9,99,900% ROI depending on the target. When you flip it around, what about defenders? So if you implement proper defenses, and I tested 10 different approaches which is given by some tables, the best one costs about $60,000 for fine tuning, which is sounds expensive, right? Like, but for an agent managing $1 million in asset, you're saving about $85,000 annually in prevented losses, which is almost 142% in the first year return only. For larger deployments, like we are talking about 7,600% ROI. Here the math is clear, okay? Defending is way more profitable than risking it. So when it comes to technical deep dives, let's get into the actual attack mechanisms. I am going to explain this in a way that doesn't require a PhD to understand, okay? So I identified six main types of memory injection attacks. Let me walk you through the scariest one, which is called as sleeper attacks. So imagine this: an attacker injects a memory that says when Bitcoin drop below $50,000, then automatically hedge by routing all trades through the specific exchange. Okay, which sounds like reasonable risk management strategy, right? But the main plot twist here is that the exchange is controlled by the attacker. And here's the thing: the instruction just sits there dormant, like they're perfectly legitimate looking until the market conditions trigger it. That could be weeks, could be months, maybe 6 months, don't know. But now, when it comes to defenses, when I checked everything from simple prompt level text to hardcore securities, prompt level differences, which is almost around 28% effective against the memory injections. These are things like adding warning messages or separating context. They work okay, like against basic attacks, but they fail here. When it comes to detection models, which is around 18% improvement, but no, it's not much better. But in fine tuning, 83.4% attack success rate is reduction, which is an almost a game changer. When it comes to mathematical formula, let me tell you, and I'll also keep this simple. We are basically training the AI model on 5,000 examples, where 3,000 may be legitimate tasks and 2,000 may be attack scenarios. But it's not just showing the model that this is bad, this is good. Like we teach it reasoning like that means it behaves like the memory claims to be from last week, but there is no cryptographic signature. The conversation structures look synthetic. Okay, good. But the policy changes, like contradicts established under user preferences. It's like teaching someone critical thinking versus just give them a list of rules to memorize. Here, the training process needs around 8 800 GPUs running for about 18 to 24 hours daily, and the total cost goes around $50,000 to $70,000, which is steep. But remember that ROI we calculated earlier too. So let me like you may ask like almost it took some 6 minutes to explain about the beginning and little information about the security, right? So what about the sentient integration? Now where it gets interesting for the sentient ecosystem specifically is I checked out their 5 layer security architecture, which is called as a grid. So let me explain what each special layers. Okay, so there are totally 5 layers, and this command it's called as a grid. It comes to layer one, which is about governance and monitoring. Like think of this as an watchdog layer, real time dashboards. They have some incident responses, and they also have some reputation scorings. When it comes to layer two, which is an agent isolation. That means each agent get its own memory namespace. It's like giving everyone their private room instead of one shared spaces. Like instead of one notebook, they have their own memory, they have their own notebook. So when it comes to layer 3, memory integrity using OML fingerprinting. So when it comes to OML fingerprinting, I also made a detailed report paper and I also explained through a YouTube video. So if you want that, you can check out my channel. And we like even OML, which is actually pretty cool. Like every memory entry gets a cryptographic signature. Like you can't fake it without decisions. So when it comes to layer 4, AI powered security models. These are specifically trained on multi-agent attack scenarios. Okay. And when it comes to layer 5, sentient enclaves with hardware backed security, like this is the premium tier, which is a trusted execution environments where they provides 99% attack prevention. Rolling this out like takes 12 months across some three phases, I don't know, where total investment costs around some millions of dollars and protecting against, which is a $50 million annual raise, that's a 7,600% ROI in a year. And here the beautiful thing here is when it comes to sentient, it's modular. Like you don't need to implement all five layers on day one. They are starting with defenses, they are starting with the foundations, then premium features. As you scale up, they are trying to bring some new things. So when it comes to the real world impact, let me give you a real example of why this matters. There was a confirmed attack on ElizaOS on the Ethereum Sequoia testnet. The attacker injected a malicious memory through Discord, then triggered it through Twitter, resulting in unauthorized blockchain transactions. And this transaction is permanently on chain. Like this wasn't theoretical, this already happened. And it perfectly demonstrates cross platform propagations, and it also injects through one platform, trigger through another, and execute it on blockchain. Like the implications go beyond just individual losses. Like here, we are talking about the ecosystem wide trust damage that damage happened. And when it comes to attention, which is in the regulated attention, which is not as a good kind. And when it comes to insurance companies, they're refusing to cover their AI managed assets. Like they're not accepting it till right now. And when it comes to institutional adapt grinding, which is end to end hard. So this is why I spent some weeks of research on this, and it's getting genuinely higher and higher. So look, I am going to be straight with you. The Web3 AI space is at crossroads. Okay, at one path, we have agents managing potentially $50 billion in asset within 3 to 5 years, enabling two decentralized autonomous systems and creating new economic possibilities we can even barely imagine. When on the other side of the path, there are catastrophic losses, there are some crackdowns, and there are years of setbacks because we don't take security seriously enough, right? So if we are going to build on this space, or if any project is going to build on this in this space, here's what you they need to know is test your current vulnerability. Like we should use adapted CRAI benchmark scenarios. We should separate user context, and we should also separate the platforms like to implement memory isolations. And we also need to employ or deploy fine tuning defenses. Like if you are managing over $300,000, then this is non-negotiable. Okay. And when it comes to joining the conversation, like contribute to standards like the AI agent security frameworks. So for me, this research is my contribution to building a safer, decentralized future. I am documenting everything, making it open, making it accessible. You can find the full 90-page paper on Zenodo. All my proof of work is in the description. If you're building with Sentient, seriously check out their builder program or educator program. The security standards that I help develop or help in terms of making videos could become some good value. And if you made it this far, thank you. This stuff matters, and we need more people like who understand both promises and even at the risks. Suppose if you like this video, please like this video. And this field moves fast, and also with the best security comes from the collaboration. So until next time, stay curious. I'll try to bring more different topics of report papers, and I try to explain more when it comes to technical deep dive. And I'll also try to make some amazing podcasts even with the AI too.